I want you to be able to hear me. Hey, we already have somebody on. Don, how are you doing? By the way, we got a pretty good crowd. A lot of folks watching, about 300 right now or so, so that's good. Do we have sound? Samantha, don't tell me we don't have any sound. Do we have sound? Yeah, we do. We do have sound. Okay, good. Hey, Victor, you want rain and you want it now. Well, sorry. Kelly, can you hear me? Hey, I need somebody to tell me if they can hear me. Hopefully they can, because it looks like we've got levels. I see them working over there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. Samantha, how are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing good. Kelly, how are you doing? Juan, good morning. How are you? Carol, how are you doing this morning? And Karen, hopefully we still have some sound, so that's good. I think we do now. Yeah, good. All right, so where we go from now? Well, we got a lot to talk about. First of all, very interesting as far as our weather here in South Central Texas. Also, tropics really heating up. So I'm going to tell you all about what I think is going to be happening with the tropics. We had a little cool frontal boundary that's kind of come through the area, but you know how cold fronts work here in South Texas. They don't really cool us off, but they have brought us a chance for some showers. We had some showers scattered around yesterday. Hopefully you got lucky. And again today, we're going to have a few, but you've got to get really lucky, I think, to pick up a shower today. Let's put us in the box here. 88 degrees downtown, and also at Calaveras Lake coming in at about 86. And look at those beautiful, clear blue skies. If you want rain, well, you want to see some clouds in the sky, but I still think we will have some development. Okay, so let's start off with yesterday. Yesterday we had a high temperature of 103, and you may be asking yourself, I'm going to be honest, I forecasted a high of 99. When I was doing my work and my math and everything, and I was like, you know what? We could hit 100 or 101, but I decided to go with 99. And I wish I'd have gone a little bit higher because we hit 103. And what I thought might happen, did happen. Our dew points, instead of being in the upper 60s, lower 70s, and even mid 70s sometimes, were a little bit lower. And when you have lower dew points, drier conditions, the temperature will come up. Now, on the flip side of that, yeah, the temperature comes up, but the heat index is about the same as the temperature. So really it comes out to be about even. You got to ask yourself, do I want a 103 degree day with a heat index of 102, or do I want a 99 degree day with a heat index of 105? I don't know. I might take the 103, and it feels like 101. So let's take a look. Yesterday, New Braunfels 104, Austin was 104 degrees, Gonzales hit 104, and the feels like temperature, this is what it felt like across the area. Let me see if I can get this, and we'll go back. There we go. The maximum heat index was 102. So we hit 103, but it felt like 102. New Braunfels hit 104 yesterday, but it felt like 105. And Gonzales hit 104, but it felt like 101. See what I'm saying? A little bit drier air worked in. And in the hill country, look at that. Temperatures were in the mid-90s at around 94. Now, with the heating of the day, we did have some showers and some thunderstorms that popped up. But how much rain you received all depended on where you were at. Some folks picked up some much-needed rain, others didn't. Most locations in Bexar County, about 1/10 of an inch. There were some areas in the northwest side of town that picked up a little bit more. Around Lytle, picked up a little bit more rain, and then over towards the east, you had some pockets of even 1 inch or 2 in some locations. Outside right now, we've got a temperature of 88, so we're warming on up. Kerrville's at 84. Beeville's coming in at about 87 degrees, so kind of warm out there. All right, so we've got some questions. Let me see if I can answer some questions real quick. Carol, yep, it's hot. And that's one thing you can count on here in South Texas is a lot of heat. And Felicia, watching, hey, tell everybody in Vaughn Army that we said hi. And Jennifer, let's see, hope no rain on moving. Oh, you're moving. Well, hopefully you won't. If you're moving in the next couple of days, yeah, there's a slight chance today, but I think over the next couple of days you're going to be okay. Next week, I think our rain chances may come up, and it may be kind of tropically induced. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's see, Carol by SeaWorld. And we got some rain Monday and Tuesday. You were one of the lucky ones. I mean, I can't complain. I picked up about, in the last 2 days, I think I've picked up 12 100ths of an inch of rain. Not a whole lot, but picked up some rain. All right, so let's take a look at these dew points. With the little bit of a kind of a northeasterly wind out there, dew point is at 63. So feeling better. Look at Fredericksburg, 58 degree dew point. Austin, 58-degree dew point. Down to the south, though, it's still humid towards Beeville, Port Lavaca, Carrizo Springs, dew points at 70. So remember the dew points and look at the heat index values. Yeah, Beeville feels like 92. Cotulla feels like 91. Up at Fredericksburg, mid-80s. And we're somewhere in the middle. You know, we've got a dew point of 63, so it feels like about 90 degrees outside right now at about 89. It's hot. Taking a look at the surface map, we've got this frontal boundary that stretches from Alabama just south of New Orleans, and it kind of is fading out here around south central Texas. And notice that I put the dew points on here because where you see that really light green, let me see if I can zoom in here, yeah, where you see it really light there just north of town from Austin to Fredericksburg, into Brady, Comanche, Hamilton, if you know where those areas are, back to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, dew points are in the 50s, so really nice, really dry, feels pretty good. We're right on the edge of that. So therefore, I think that's kind of where the edge of the thunderstorms will be. A little bit later on this afternoon. There won't be many, but there will be some, so hopefully you'll get lucky. All right, let's talk about the tropics really quickly. Let's go out in the Atlantic. We've got a couple of systems that I'm watching. There's 2 of them out there, and there will be more. The way I see things shaping up, it is going to be very active from here on out, probably all the way through September. And you know what I always say, really in south central Texas, really the state of Texas, hurricane season is just about over when we get to October 1st. I mean, the first couple of weeks of October, it's possible, but the westerlies really start kicking in, and it gets very difficult for Texas to start to see anything tropical once we get into October. But I do think the next 5-6 weeks are going to be really active. We've got a little system here. It's not even a depression yet, but it's a area of low pressure, still an open wave. Let's just say that. It's an open wave in the Caribbean. Now, the Eastern Caribbean, it's very hard for tropical systems. If they're not already organized coming into the Caribbean, chances are they're not going to organize in the Eastern Caribbean. But Western Caribbean, Yucatan, I think the environment is going to be a lot better off for tropical development. I don't know if I can zoom in here. Yeah, I can zoom in. I want you to take a look at this. You know, when we talk about shear, you can almost see it here. Let me let the computer kind of catch up a little bit. But look at the Gulf of Mexico. You can just see how everything's kind of working against the grain. You know, these tropical systems, they work from east towards the west, but there's a deep trough there in the Gulf of Mexico, and if anything tropically went into that Gulf right now, it gets sheared apart because you can actually just see everything working the opposite direction from west to east. That's what we call shear, and that trough is going to be there, what is today, Wednesday? All the way through Saturday. Now, the thing that's interesting, this system, as it gets into the western portions of the Caribbean, will be close to the Yucatan by Saturday. Maybe a little bit of a developed system, maybe not. I think chances are a little bit better that it will. And I think that trough and that shear is going to start to relax, and it's going to be replaced by an upper level ridge of high pressure. So what I'm trying to tell you, if this system can hold together as a nice tropical wave and move into the western portions of the Caribbean, into the Yucatan, and then into the Gulf of Mexico, I think it will develop, and I think it probably will develop pretty rapidly. At least that's the way I see that system playing out. There's another one here in the Atlantic, and you can kind of see, let me let the satellite catch up with it. With satellite, looks pretty good on that one too. Boy, real big, broad, kind of a weak circulation. Not yet a westerly wind just yet, but I think this system is probably on the verge of becoming a tropical depression, meaning that it has a closed low. And then it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with this one. The forecast models has it moving right towards the big islands of Hispaniola and Cuba, and if that happens, it's going to be a tough road. But it could just barely kind of miss them either to the north or the south, and then this system could work into the Gulf of Mexico. And because there's such a big ridge of high pressure here across the Atlantic, for the next couple of weeks, anything that develops will have the likelihood of moving through the Caribbean and into the Gulf of Mexico. There's another big, large system coming off of Africa, and that one looks pretty impressive. So there's going to be a train of these systems for the foreseeable future. They're going to just work across the Atlantic. Before I go any further, see if anybody else has some questions. Laura, the next name stormed, I think it is Laura. Is that why you said that? I think it is Laura. I'm not sure if it's spelled the same way, but I think it is. And then Marco is after that. Allison, looks like when it hits, looks like we'll make it before it hits. Yeah, maybe. And Aurora, how soon are we talking about? We're talking about early next week. Now, I'm not telling you that Texas is going to get hit by a tropical system. All I'm telling you is that there is a chance. Right now, at this point, kind of a remote chance, but there is definitely a chance that this is going to work into the Gulf of Mexico, and then it could affect anywhere in the western or northern portions of the Gulf of Mexico, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Let's see, Loretta, I agree. Let's see, I don't know. Mark, what's the timeline on that one? Yeah, in the Gulf of Mexico, early next week, and then we're going to get to that right now. Okay, so let's get into this. I've got these computer models. Okay, there's statistical models, there's trajectory models, and there's dynamic models. So let's take a look at the dynamic models first. And what's the difference? Well, the statistical models, the input that goes into the computer model is what has happened in the past should happen now. The trajectory is just how it sounds, kind of the way it's been moving. Forward that out, that's the way it should continue to move. But the dynamic models taking more into account of what's going on in the atmosphere at right now. So let's take a look at that one. And I like the dynamic models better, personally. But you can see the one there in the Caribbean just kind of looks a little disorganized. The one out in the Atlantic looks a little bit more organized. But in the future, these are what these dynamic models, this is what they're forecasting. They've got this one that's in the Caribbean staying as a weak system. How can I tell? Because it's going almost pretty much due west, and most of these weak systems just go due west like that, and may start to increase in intensity, moving up towards the Yucatan, and then really, just depending on how strong the ridge of high pressure is to its north, depends on how much further to the west it's going to move. Some of these computer models, so anywhere really in the northern portions of the Gulf of Mexico, all the way back to Texas, and even into northern Mexico there, really need to watch what's going to happen with this system. And there is a chance it could really develop with the upper level winds being pretty light early next week. This is a look at Monday right there. And then so I think it'd be like about Tuesday making landfall. It's pretty close to that. Anyway, okay, so let's go to the other one. There's the other one in the Atlantic. A lot of different dynamic models taking it pretty consistently, pretty close to Hispaniola, Haiti there in Dominican Republic, and then right over Cuba. If it holds that line, that's going to be a tough road for that system, whichever one it's going to be called, if it even is a named storm. But notice how this has a really good chance by early next week making it into the Gulf of Mexico. Right now, I'd have to say probably more northern Gulf, up towards Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, but not out of the question for us either. So we'll just have to watch that system. Now, those are the dynamic models. Let's take a look at the statistical models. Pretty much basically kind of the same thing, same idea. So anyway, so that gives you an idea. Early next week, we'll have to watch the Gulf of Mexico, especially that one in the Caribbean, in my opinion. So this is another look at the upper level wind flow. You got the big high that's over the desert southwest. You've probably heard by now, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, Death Valley hit 130 degrees because that ridge of high pressure is so large. Now coming around that high, you've got a northerly flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere and mid-levels, and basically really all the way from about 5,000 feet all the way up, you've got a northerly flow. What does that do for us here in South Texas? Well, this time of the year, it tends to dry us out. Also, it makes the mid-levels a little bit cooler than they normally would be. Why does that matter? Well, you know it's going to be hot here, and the cooler you have it in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, well, it makes it a little unstable. Put it this way. At about 10,000 feet, normally this time of the year, we should be about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I think today, 47. It doesn't sound like a big difference, but that does make a huge difference. So basically what I'm telling you is once our surface temperatures start reaching about 100 degrees, it's going to bubble up through that cooler air, and we'll see some showers and some thunderstorms develop. By the way, here comes our little system there in the Yucatan. This is the mid-level chart as we head into Saturday, and we'll have to not hopefully, but that trough that's in Louisiana, it should lift out, and then the ridge of high pressure builds in, and this is just one computer model, but notice where some of that rain's going into northern Mexico, southern Texas there. So we'll have to watch it. It's going to be interesting. And then the other one over Cuba kind of moves more like towards Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. But again, both of those, it's too hard to tell right now. Both of those we'll have to watch. Here's your forecast for today. High temperatures will be, I think, forecasted 102. I think that's where we'll end up, yeah. And notice, right when we start hitting 100 degrees around the area, you start to see some isolated showers develop. I think most of the showers will likely develop to our south or southwest of San Antonio, but we'll hit about 102. And I've got to give it at least a 10% chance of picking up an isolated shower. Hopefully you'll pick up one. And also because it's starting to dry out in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, we'll probably see some gusty winds around some of the thunderstorms that develop. Okay, here's a look at the 7-day. 7-day forecast. We've got a high temperature again of 102 today. I'm going to go with 102 again tomorrow and 100 degrees on Friday. I could have easily put a 10% chance of rain on Friday. I do have a 10% chance for Saturday. It's going to be hot through the weekend. And I'm going to take the temperatures down a little bit for Tuesday, depending on what happens in the Gulf of Mexico. I've got a 30% chance of rain that pretty much reflects at least some rain from whatever tropically happens in the Gulf of Mexico coming in. So Tuesday, maybe even into Wednesday, hopefully we'll get some rain in here and not have a real big bad system there in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's the way it looks to me. So thanks so much for being with me today, and I hope you have a great day. Don't forget, oh, by the way, I'm doing noon today, so I'll see you at 12. And then later on this evening, I'm not sure who's in, but somebody will be here. I don't think it's Bill, but I don't know who it is. But I know this, I'll be here at noon. Make sure and watch us at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. All right. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.